So things like, okay, asparagus, celery, having celery is 1 gram of carbohydrate, but that is actually a negative caloric food. It's high in sodium. It's the highest sodium in all the vegetables, but when you eat it, you actually burn calories because you have to chew it for so long. But it's also a high fibrous food because, again, it's roughage. You have the asparagus is 2 grams. It's a low. And then the beans, of course, common sense things like beans and potatoes are going to be a little higher, between 18 and 27. Whereas, your lighter, like say cucumber, cauliflower, celery, fennel, that's going to be 2 grams and less. So if you're eating your vegetables all day long, you're not only taking a lot of fiber, but you're also taking in the carbohydrate. Now I'll have rice and pasta and potato with my meal. And my friend Zed and I were talking about last night how we we were sitting there having, he made a fabulous dinner, by the way. Thanks, Zed. It was rice and it was fish and tomato and different spices and herbs. And that's another thing, is that you want to use spices and herbs to replace the oils that you want to use. Like I'll use the red peppers because they produce a natural oil. I'll use nuts that produces a natural oil. And herbs like basil, cilantro, parsley, rosemary, thyme, dill. You have the Italian blend that's dry, that's real cheap you get. Then you have like feta, mozzarella. Those, that's not an herb or spice, but it's low in fat, and it will add flavor to your dish. And then you have ginger. Ginger is great for the stomach, and the peppers are great for your stomach as well. The Indians do take the chili pepper for like an antacid. I don't see how that works, but I'm still trying to figure that out. But Tabasco down the throat. If you Pepto-Bismol, no, don't worry about it. Here's some chili pepper. But the Mexicans or Hispanics have a low stomach cancer percentages. I had an email the other day, and it had all these lists of the Germans have like the German lager, they'll drink to death, or whatever. It had all this stuff, and it has low in heart disease. The Japanese, they smoke and have sake, low in heart disease. And at the end it said, well, if you speak English, you're gonna have a heart attack. That was funny. I was like, yeah, it's true. But then you have your vinegars, your balsamic, your raspberry, your red and white wines. You can make your own salad dressing, and I make my own, oil and vinegar or balsamic, and I take a little bit of mustard, a little bit the Parmesan cheese, olive oil, balsamic, and a little bit of vinegar. Anyways, and I make my own balsamic, and it's actually pretty good. Oh, I take garlic and the Italian seasoning, and I'll make enough, and I have put a little bit of yogurt in there before to make it a little more creamier.
Yogurt in your salad dressing?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the balsamic, it gives it a little more creamy consistency instead of using mayonnaise.
Or ranch, or
yeah, ranch. Yeah, I actually make my ranch. So when Trin wants to dip her carrots, instead of making the ranch with the mayonnaise, I make it with yogurt, and then I make it from scratch with the garlic, the herbs,
or like the powdered ranch type of.
Yeah, no, I don't buy that.
Oh, okay.
I don't. I make everything. It's pretty, as long as you know what's going on. And I have a 2-shake or a 4-shake method. I don't measure anything, so
that's the best way, though.
Mine's a shake, yeah, a shake. So, like I'll do the yogurt with the cayenne, paprika, Italian seasonings, garlic. I barely put sodium in anything because foods naturally has sodium in it, and so when you're cooking and I see my mom does salt and pepper. I'm like, stop using the carcinogens, stop, you drive me crazy. Let me cook, just let me cook. And because the foods contain a natural sodium in it. Like I was telling, the celery has like 112 milligrams of sodium, which is high for celery, for a serving size. Serving size is like 3 stalks. And when you're cooking with, say for instance, I don't know, a green, I'm trying to think of maybe Brussels sprouts or something of that nature. You put a little garlic, and it has a natural, if you just eat the food without any seasonings on it, see what it tastes like, and then add the seasonings to your liking. I like particularly spicy foods, so I use paprika, cayenne, the red peppers, the chili peppers. I use a habanero, just a dab. I had my former sister-in-law came back from Jamaica. She was in the Peace Corps, and she brought back this jerk sauce. What? This stuff would, I mean, forget about waxing. This stuff would just totally take the hair off your legs. And it was just a very tiny, tiny bit, and I put it in a gallon of chili. It was vegetarian chili, which vegetarian chili is mainly vegetables and no meat. So, except you can put like a boca burger in. Anyway, so I put it in there, and it heated up that pot of, before you knew it, it was just on fire. So use herbs. Bottom line is use herbs and seasonings to bring out the flavors in your foods instead of oils. Carbohydrates, also in the fruits. People don't want to eat fruit because they're like, it is high in carbohydrate. Okay, so I have this list in front of me, and the list, I mean, a banana has 26 grams. A melon has 26 grams according to this list. A pear is 12 grams. Okay, so where is this high carbohydrate content when, like, my slice of bread today had 15 grams of carbohydrates? So that's relatively, that's a serving. So when you have high, you also have to look at the glycemic index, the GI, and a high glycemic food should be eaten with other foods: soluble fiber, fat, acidic foods, protein. Particularly meat, significantly blunts like the insulin spike. So how you're pairing your foods is another thing. So what I like to do in the morning, I will have a handful of blueberries or an orange, a cutie or something, and I'll go about my business. I'll get dressed, and then I'll have the oatmeal, whatever. I wake up at 4 o'clock. So,
oh, wow.
So when I wake up, that's, for some people getting in at night, that's my and I've actually gone out to eat with some friends that were going to breakfast, like I'd been out all night, and I got my sleep. And then I went to have breakfast with them, and I'm like,
you're all energetic, waking up, and they're all getting drowsy and sleepy.
Right. And but I've already had my fruit, and then I'll have my meal, like my oatmeal. Oatmeal is a great source of the carbohydrate, but it has fiber. You take fiber and you subtract fiber from the carbohydrate to get your true source of carbohydrate. So Joseph flatbread, I found it at Walmart, and it's about $2.19 for a flatbread. And sometimes I find it even cheaper than that, but it's an average about $2.19. I shop in West Memphis, and shopping in West Memphis at the Walmart is phenomenal. It's you have 5% sales tax, and the food's cheaper. I'm like, yes, I just saved $30. But the Joseph flatbread, it's particularly, it even shows you on the back what it does, and it's a high fiber. High fiber is 5 grams or more, so you have to remember that. And then when you have the banana and the apple and things of that nature, they're high. They have high in fiber, so you subtract that from the carbohydrate. So, for instance, the banana gets 26 grams, but then it's a high fiber of 8 grams, so you subtract it, making it 18 grams. Whereas if you're going to have a potato, and then you add butter and then sour cream, and then you make it unhealthy. Well, if you even dip that banana in chocolate and freeze it, it's still actually a healthy, as long as it's not high fructose corn syrup in the chocolate, as long as it's a natural cocoa, then it's a healthy banana. And that's a great little, I'll freeze strawberries, I'll dip them in chocolate, and I'll freeze them for my daughter, and it's a great little cute snack, and she loves them. Strawberries frozen, when they start melting, they break down, they become sweeter, which is a lot healthier for your kids to consume.
Well, plus you get all the nutrients out of the fruit as well.
You do. Whereas, you have the fruit pops, and that's great and all, but I mean, honestly, if you have some fruit and you're not a household that eats fruit constantly, that's a great way to kind of savor it a little bit longer. Throw it in the freezer and then take it out and eat it as it melts or whatever. Put it in a bowl. It melts pretty fast.